Good evening, everyone. My name is Ashlyn Tedder, and I'm the president of the American Pharmacist Association Academy of Student Pharmacists. It is my privilege to welcome you to the 18th annual and first ever virtual UAMS College of Pharmacy White Coat Ceremony. The American Pharmacist Association Academy of Student Pharmacists sponsored the first White Coat ceremony for entering students in 2003. And just as we did then, we believe this ceremony makes clear the increased expectations and responsibilities of students entering the professional curriculum. Before we begin our ceremony, let us acknowledge the UAMS College of Pharmacy faculty and alumni in virtual attendance. Thank you for joining us. With so many family and friends here tonight, Dr. Cindy Stowe, Dean of the UAMS College of Pharmacy, would now like to say a few words of welcome.
Thank you, Ashlyn. Family and friends of the University of Arkansas for Medical Sciences College of Pharmacy class of 2024. Welcome to our annual White Coat ceremony. We invite you to celebrate this event with your class of 2024 student and to show your support in person and through social media by commenting, sharing, liking this event. We want to know that you're with us at this exciting time. Specifically, to all the parents, grandparents, spouses, and other family members and close personal friends of the UAMS College of Pharmacy class of 2024. Thank you for placing your trust in us to deliver on our promise to care about, educate, and prepare your student for a career as a pharmacist. Our students are the lifeblood of the college and the mission that is core for us: to improve the health of culturally diverse populations by educating pharmacy leaders to address community health needs. To the class of 2024, you're entering the profession at a unique time, a transformational time. I observe in your generation a commitment to addressing some of our greatest challenges: inequities, injustices, and healthcare outcomes more related to zip code than genetics. Your generation has greater emphasis on inclusivity and awareness of and concern for economic disparities. As pharmacists, you will be at ground zero in this battle to level access to quality, cost-effective health care. I see a world of possibilities in your passion to serve and lead your communities as a pharmacist. You began this journey many years ago, and your formal journey to become a pharmacist has already started. Tonight, we celebrate the accomplishments of the past and the hope and anticipation of what the future holds. Today in the presence, as you don your white coat, I encourage you to take it all in and enjoy the moment and reflect on this outward symbol welcoming you to the pharmacy profession. I know that each of you has undoubtedly benefited from many people who have helped you with homework, carpools, finances, moral support all along the way. I urge each of you to thank these individuals for helping you achieve this milestone and share this moment with you as you embark on the final phase of your journey to become a pharmacist. The faculty, your fellow students, and I are proud that you have joined us in a profession that we love. Godspeed and thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Stowe. I'm now elated to be able to announce that we will have greetings from our Provost, Senior Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs, and Chief Strategy Officer, Dr. Stephanie Garner. Please enjoy this video.
Good evening. To Dean Stowe, faculty members, and this year's incoming pharmacy students, I am pleased to be able to be part of this event. Tonight, you will put on your white coat, a powerful symbol in healthcare, and then you will recite the Pledge of Professionalism as an act of initiation into the profession. I'm going to ask each of you to spend some time reflecting on the responsibilities that you're accepting as you begin this professional journey. You start the journey as a class with one of the highest percentages of underrepresented minorities, nearly 20% in the college's history. You reflect UAMS's intention to graduate learners that reflect the diversity of the population you will serve. You also begin this journey in the middle of a pandemic, a public health emergency the likes of which our world has not known in more than a century. Your pharmacy school experience will continue to be impacted by COVID-19. Healthcare delivery will change due to this virus in ways we do not yet know, and you will have the opportunity to be at the forefront of those changes and be part of them. Now, the white coat itself. The white coat is a powerful symbol, and the message that it sends depends on you. During my time as the Dean of the UAMS College of Pharmacy, I attended many white coat ceremonies, and I like to ask new students how they chose this path. I received many different responses over the years. First, I heard about opportunities. When I started pharmacy school just over 30 years ago, I had some of the same sorts of hopes and dreams that I imagine you have tonight. My plan to become a pharmacist stemmed from interactions with the community pharmacist in my hometown, and I have been fortunate to have had opportunities in the following years to learn from and with amazing pharmacists and mentors. So I knew I was entering a field that aligned with my interest and was in demand. But the second reason, helping others, is the most frequent response. The real question is how you will help others. When you graduate from this program, you'll have the skills and expertise to work as a pharmacist. And your skills and knowledge will help you help others. But that's not where your responsibility ends, which leads us to the purpose of the ceremony tonight. The origin of the white coat goes back more than 100 years to physicians who wore them to denote cleanliness, purity, and a more scientific approach to medicine. Even before physicians wore gloves and practiced sterile technique, they wore a white coat. But today our white coats have both positive and negative connotations. People in white coats are easily identified as healthcare experts. But the white coat could also be intimidating. In fact, some patients have so much anxiety the first few minutes around a lot of white coats that their blood pressure goes up. Some patients are fearful of asking questions, making the white coat a barrier to care. So the white coat's not just a uniform that you will wear, but it's something that can send both good or bad messages to your patients. Putting on that white coat's not going to change your values, your knowledge, or your qualifications, but it will change something. It will represent something to your patients. It'll imply the competence and skills of your profession, but it'll also represent one of two attitudes, either a barrier that separates you from your patients or a symbol of trust, and only you can make that decision. Now, I wish each of you luck and success in the days, weeks, and semesters ahead. Put on those white coats with confidence and determination. Be mindful of the symbolism, but don't let it be a barrier. This faculty and your fellow students are committed to making your journey through pharmacy school a rewarding one. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Gardner. We would like to take a moment to thank the Arkansas Pharmacists Association for their generous support of this event and our student pharmacist. Joining us this evening to give greetings from the association is the Executive Vice President and CEO, Dr. John Vinson. Dr. Vinson.
Thank you, Ashlyn. Good evening. I bring you greetings from the Arkansas Pharmacists Association from our president, Dr. Kristen Riddle, myself, John Vinson, the CEO, and our 2,500 student pharmacists and pharmacists all over Arkansas that are here to support you through this journey, through pharmacy school and into the profession beyond. It's a little nostalgic for me tonight. 20 years ago, I was in your position. So year 2020, 20 years have elapsed, and in that 20 years, I've considered myself a part of this profession, just as you are today. We're so excited to see what the future holds. There's so many changes, so many innovations that you're going to be part of in solving the world's pandemic, whether that's going to be COVID vaccine that we may start to see in the next month, whether that means COVID testing, and whether that means other innovations with technology. When I was in your shoes, we didn't have iPhones, we barely had the internet, we certainly didn't text, and we didn't have GPS. There were no e-prescriptions. My point is there have been a lot of changes in the last 20 years, and the next 5 years, we're going to see a warp speed of changes in healthcare and the delivery. And don't ever forget the education that you will receive over the next 4 years is world class. It literally will make you put the skill set and knowledge as not only the nation, but the world's expert on medications. So as Dr. Gardner, as Provost Gardner said a minute ago, wear that with a badge of honor, be confident, and love your patients as if it was your own mother, your own father, brother, or sister. With that, congratulations. We look forward to seeing you again. This is only the beginning. Obviously, got to meet you yesterday in class. I was really impressed with your questions. Friends and family, they asked me things like, how are we going to lower the price of insulin? How can we help improve our Medicaid program and make sure that we can afford those services for those underserved patients in our state that need us so much? Really impressed with their line of questioning. They're going to do great things. And congratulations, and once again, welcome from the Arkansas Pharmacists Association. Thank you, Ashley.
Thank you, Dr. Vinson. I'm pleased to introduce our keynote speaker, Dr. Mary Bradley. Mary grew up in rural Arkansas and went to high school at the Arkansas School for Mathematics, Sciences, and the Arts before attending the University of Arkansas at Little Rock for her undergraduate degree. There, she obtained her degree in biology with minors in chemistry and music performance before going to pharmacy school at the University of Arkansas for Medical Sciences, College of Pharmacy. While at UAMS, she was involved with the American Pharmacists Association Academy of Student Pharmacists, where she served as Policy Vice President, Chapter President, and National Policy Standing Committee member and chair. She also served as the student liaison for the Arkansas Pharmacists Association and the director of internal events for the 12th Street Health and Wellness Center, and was a member of the American College of Clinical Pharmacy and American Society of Health Systems Pharmacy. After graduating with academic and experiential honors, Dr. Bradley completed 2 years of residency at the University of Colorado Hospital and Colorado University Skaggs School of Pharmacy in Denver, Colorado, specializing in critical care with a focus on clinical research and academia. While in residency, she was awarded an organizational research grant, published 2 peer-reviewed articles, and completed several research projects that are to be submitted for publication. Dr. Bradley recently moved back to Arkansas and now works at CHI St. Vincent Infirmary as a clinical pharmacy preceptor in intensive care. She is reacclimating to the humidity of Arkansas with her husband, John, and their schnauzer, Oliver. Please welcome Dr. Mary Bradley.
Thank you, Ashley. Student pharmacists, family, and faculty, thank you all for allowing me to share this moment with you. Today, we are here to celebrate one of the first milestones of your journey to become a pharmacist. In a few moments, you will read the Pharmacy Student Pledge of Professionalism and make many a promise. that you will strive to reach throughout your career as a student pharmacist. Many of the components of the pledge will seem intuitive enough, but you will not feel the full weight of the promise until you've lived it. What I hope to share with you over the next few minutes are some of the experiences I have had that led me to a deeper understanding of the pledge and what it means to be a pharmacist. First, I would like to point out that you will learn the importance of each pledge you make from people, real patients, professors, peers, and family members, and experiences, not just the classroom. To illustrate these points, I would like to introduce you to a patient who changed my life from the moment I met him. This patient was a tenacious, persistent, and kind 68-year-old male who was riding his motorcycle on his way home from work and was hit by a semi-truck. He sustained severe injuries requiring a prolonged intensive care stay and years-long recovery period. I helped prepare his home nebulizer and boom vacuum solutions and organize his daily pill box. This man was more than just a patient. He was also a pharmacist who owned an independent pharmacy for almost 30 years. He is overwhelmingly dedicated to his patients, often staying late to counsel his patients, offering advice on ways to mitigate side effects, or paying for their prescriptions when they're down on their luck. It was evident in the way that he talked about his career that he put the welfare of his patients and their relief above his own convenience. This patient, despite all of his hardships, found ways to laugh daily and foster a sense of community with his patients, and set one of the best examples for me as to what a great pharmacist looks like because of how he viewed trying times, treating everyone with respect, specifically his patients. From this patient and pharmacist, I learned the value of trying to always do better, be better, and love harder. Another patient, an elderly Marine with chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, was hospitalized during my 4th year of pharmacy school for a COPD exacerbation. Upon admission, he was intubated and subsequently ventilated for several days. What I remember most vividly about being in the room with this patient was having a one-sided conversation with an agitated, burly man who had tears rolling down his face from pain. I remember leaving the room and nervously walking up to the physician and attempting to muster up enough confidence to request pain medication to help temporize his pain, finding that I essentially regurgitated phrases professors taught me in pharmacy school on how to propose recommendations to physicians. The physician kindly agreed, and I walked away from that encounter with gratitude for the ability to advocate for this patient. When he was extubated, he shared his memory of our one-sided conversation, relaying to me the small sense of comfort that he gained from me treating him as a person, not just a patient. I remember being beyond grateful for the critical care section of pharmacotherapy and for all of the simulations we completed during pharmacy school, both of which provided me with the knowledge to help this patient in a small but meaningful way. What I learned from this patient experience is the importance of teamwork amongst healthcare providers for the good of the patient, the importance of advocating for your patient no matter how uncomfortable you may be, and the importance of all the hours that I spent studying while in pharmacy school, because on the receiving end of that knowledge lays a patient who needs an attentive, compassionate, and well-versed pharmacist. Another patient, a lively middle-aged woman, a dedicated do-it-yourselfer, was admitted to the intensive care unit, suffering from a severe infection in her blood, which spread to her heart valves and several vertebrae in her spine. When I first reviewed this patient's medical chart, I had a full list of recommendations that I was ready to state on patient care rounds on how I could improve her patient care. On rounds, I proudly recited my list of recommendations, and the doctor simply looked at me and replied, "What recommendations do you have for that?" I stood there with what I am sure is one of the most dumbfounded looks he saw on another healthcare professional's face, paused, and said, "Well, that's an excellent question. Let me look that up and get back to you." As a slight aside, that is a phrase you should commit to memory now because it will serve you well in your curriculum and in your career. Back to the story. Thankfully, evidence-based medicine is integrated into the UAMS curriculum, and I knew how to do an appropriate primary literature search in order to answer a specific clinical question. I found myself doing this repeatedly throughout her hospital stay in order to provide the most sound and evidence-based recommendation, especially because that was the language the doctor caring for her spoke. Thankfully, she discharged well on her way to recovery with just a few weeks of antibiotics standing in her way. I look back on her admission positively with gratitude for all the skills that UAMS taught me on how to serve my patient and how to maintain my learning for optimal patient care. I also look back and say, wow, those teachers really know their stuff, and I should have listened to them every time they said something was important. From firsthand experience, everything that you will learn over the next 4 years is there for a reason, even the things you will undoubtedly question. What I haven't shared with you all is that each of those patients hold a very special place in my heart. They are my family members, one of whom is my stepfather. I did not take care of them in a professional capacity. My involvement in their care was personal, gritty, and stressful. Behind every patient is a family member or close friend who might find themselves helpless in their current situation. I am blessed to have had the privilege to earn knowledge through hard work and excellent training that helps me care for my patients every day, all of whom I try to treat like family, just like my stepdad does at his pharmacy. You all now have the privilege of learning to do the same. What I hope to impart now is that it is your responsibility to take every step of your education seriously and to identify what motivates you. As you can probably tell from my patient care stories, my motivator in school when I was really overstudying was my family, often reciting myself, what if so-and-so is hospitalized and I needed to know this to help them? There will be many times that you will think that you can't do it. Sometimes other people will tell you that you can't do it. You will make a mistake when you're taking care of a patient, and you will feel terrible. You will question why you did this. I know that each one of you will pick yourself up and dust yourself off. Forgive yourself for whatever mistake you made, because you will learn the depths of your humanity. And then you will look to your motivator, because the next thing that you learn may save someone's life. I ask that you make sure your motivator is something that makes you come alive, truly alive, because this world doesn't need just another pharmacist. It needs a pharmacist that knows what inspires them and can use it for the good of their profession and their patient. Class of 2024, be kind, start strong, end strong, and come alive. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Bradley. New students, I would now like to direct your attention to the Student Pledge of Professionalism found on the back of the program. As I read the pledge, the faculty, your fellow classmates, and other leaders of the profession in attendance ask that you reflect on the meaning of the pledge and the commitment that is required by your choice of professional study. As a student of pharmacy, I believe there is a need to build and reinforce a professional identity founded on integrity, ethical behavior, and honor. This development, a vital process in my education, will help ensure that I am true to the professional relationship I establish between myself and society as I become a member of the pharmacy community. Integrity will be an essential part of my everyday life, and I will practice pharmacy with honesty and commitment to serve. To accomplish this goal of professional development, I pledge to develop a sense of loyalty and duty to the profession of pharmacy by endeavoring to create a sense of community. I will serve as one able and willing to contribute to the well-being of others and one who enthusiastically accepts the responsibility and accountability of membership in the profession. Foster professional competence through lifelong learning. I understand that my education is a privilege, and I will never forget that it is my responsibility to learn the science and practice of pharmacy. In addition, I shall always seek to learn from the wisdom and experience of my mentors and fellow brothers and sisters of pharmacy. Strive for high ideals, teamwork, and unity with all healthcare professionals in pharmacy, medicine, nursing, and the health-related professions. I will respect the contributions of these colleagues, and I will strive to realize our collective commitment to provide optimal patient care. Conduct myself in an honorable manner in my academic and practical work. When examined, I will demonstrate my skills as an independent scholar. When serving as a member of a cooperative effort, I will share equally in the responsibility of the whole and contribute to the best of my ability to facilitate the success of the team. Support my colleagues by actively encouraging professional and personal commitment to the standards set forth by the profession. Maintain the highest ideals and professional attributes to ensure and facilitate the covenantal relationship required of the pharmaceutical caregiver. This will require an ongoing reassessment of personal and professional values. The profession of pharmacy is one that demands adherence to a set of rigorous ethical standards. The core values vital to professional responsibility incorporate collaboration, creativity, excellence, knowledge, leadership, learning, social responsibility, and professionalism. These high ideals are necessary to ensure the quality of care extended to the patients I serve. Now the moment we have all been waiting for. As you continue to reflect, I will call the name of each new student. When your name is called, please unmute your microphone, speak so that we can see you, don your white coat, and immediately remute yourself. Many of you have family and friends joining you this evening, and we encourage your celebration. Lauren Abbott.
Good evening.
Khadijah Aftab.
Good evening.
Fatima Aldori.
Good evening.
Soretta Allen.
Good evening.
Joel Arajo. Mason Archer.
Good evening.
Daniel Armstrong.
Good evening.
Whitney Austin.
Good evening.
Emily Bain.
Good evening.
Lauren Bellamy.
Good evening.
Andrew Betts.
Good evening.
Alana Bramwell.
Good evening.
Joseph Brill.
Hello, everybody.
Go!
Jared Bristow.
Good evening.
Grant Broadway.
Good evening.
Congratulations.
Jocelyn Brown.
Hello.
Kara Birchfield.
Good evening.
Kimberly Bird Dixon.
Hello.
Grayson Caraway.
Hi.
Emily Carter.
Good evening. Hi. Hello?
Gina Castro.
Good evening.
Bonnie Champion.
Good evening.
Sarah Kaufman.
Good evening.
Darshawn Desai.
Good evening.
Raven Faulkner.
Good evening.
Morgan Gilly.
Hi, guys.
With extreme pride, this mother puts this coat on her daughter.
Carl Green Jr. Carl Green Jr. Madeline Griffin.
Good evening.
Alexandra Gustorf.
Hi.
Ashton Hale.
Good evening.
Victoria Harden.
Good evening.
Story Hart.
Good evening.
Zachary Hayslip.
Good evening. Oh.
Alan Herrera.
Good evening. Hello. Hello.
Victoria Hoggard.
Good evening, everyone.
Jordan Iverson.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you.
Brooke Jacobs.
Good evening.
Alexis Jacobus.
Good evening, everybody.
Hannah Johnson.
Hi, how are y'all?
Katie Knott.
Good evening, everyone.
Jennifer Langley. Jennifer Langley.
Hello.
Chung Lee. Chung Lee. Zoe Ledbetter.
Good evening.
Alexis Ludwig.
Good evening.
Deanna Massey.
Good evening.
Hannah McAllister.
Hey, everyone.
Kennedy McElroy Charles.
Good evening.
Tierra Mickens.
Good evening.
Rachel Murray.
Good evening.
Maria Neal.
Good evening.
Emery Parker.
Hi, everyone.
Kendall Perkins.
Hi, good evening.
Hannah Pettit.
Good evening.
Barry Powers.
Hey everybody, how are y'all doing? Let's go. Ooh, that looks good. That looks good.
Michael Price.
Hey, good evening.
Danielle Prince.
Good evening.
Mary Catherine Prosser.
Hello, everyone.
Olivia Pugh.
Good evening.
Benjamin Quattlebaum.
Good evening.
Alexa Ramick.
Good evening.
Mary Kate Record.
Hi, good evening.
Austin Richards.
Howdy.
Wayne Rowland.
Hey, good evening.
All right, here we go.
Lauren Romo.
Hi, good evening.
Amanda Russell.
Good evening. Can you hear me? There it is.
Joshua Russett.
Hey, good evening.
Hey.
Lauren Salisbury.
Good evening.
Mary Rose Sieben Morgan.
Hi, everyone.
Clayton Smith.
Good evening, everybody.
Kennedy Smith.
Hello, good evening.
Catherine Snyder.
Good evening.
Austin Stanage.
Good evening.
Jacob Stewart.
Good evening.
Gracie Stover.
Good evening.
Mackenzie Suggs.
Hey, guys.
Thee Tong. Victoria Tong.
Good evening.
Good evening. Hello.
Peyton Toland.
Good evening.
Nok Tran.
Hi, good evening, guys.
Jason Van.
Good evening.
Rachel Ward.
Good evening, everyone.
Daniel Wheeler.
Hey, everybody. Good evening.
Connor White.
Good evening, everybody.
Stephanie White.
Hi to all my family and friends in Missouri.
Caitlin Williams.
Good evening, everyone.
Yay, Caitlin!
Jasmine Wilson.
Hi, good evening, everybody.
Dylan Yao.
That's me. Good evening.
Did we miss anyone? If so, please unmute yourself and state your name so that we may celebrate you. Thank you. New students, I call your attention to the last paragraph of the Student Pledge of Professionalism and ask that you read this last paragraph aloud with me as an affirmation of your acceptance of these new responsibilities and obligations. Please stand and remember to keep your microphone muted. As a student of pharmacy, I understand that my professional responsibility begins today with my entrance into this professional college community. Therefore, I pledge to uphold these values in the performance of all of my activities as I advance toward full membership in the profession of pharmacy. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to present the University of Arkansas for Medical Sciences College of Pharmacy Class of 2024. We will now have closing remarks by Dr. Lanita White, Assistant Dean for Student Affairs.
Thank you, Ashlyn. Well, class of 2024, welcome to the profession of pharmacy. I'm so excited for each of you to experience all that the profession has to offer. You have chosen an incredible, ever-expanding profession. To the family and friends joining us tonight, thank you. Thank you for your support of your student. Thank you for the sacrifices you have made to help them get here. We promise to take care of them, and we thank you for trusting us with their advanced education. We hate that we can't meet you in person tonight, but we do look forward to future celebrations where we will get to do so. This concludes our white coat ceremony. We thank you for being with us. Congratulations again to the amazing class of 2024, and have a good night. Thank you.